My name is Edith Kimani. Good afternoon. Now, the National Police Service says that not a single police officer was killed in an attack in Yumbis in Garissa County. Now, there were reports that some 20 police officers had died after being ambushed by the Somali-based militants. A statement from the National Police Service says only 3 police officers were critically wounded and that 2 others escaped with minor injuries. Now, the attack occurred when a police convoy of 5 vehicles destroyed in the ambush came under fire in the location that's currently pinpointed on your screens. The police did warn of the attacks in the region last week, which security apparatus dismissed as baseless and alarming. Well, let's stay with that story, and the Deputy County Commissioner is on the ground in Yumbis, and he did speak to KTN's Hamza Yusuf, and this is what he had to say.
One officer, 2 injured, and Al-Shabaab, we have injured several of them, ambayo wameenda na gun wound, so we are accompanying them, tunafuata nyayo zao mpaka mahali itatufikisha.
We'll get back to that story on security and specifically Garissa in just a short while. Our investigative reporter Dennis Onsarigo is in studio and he'll be bringing us a bit more insight into that event. But let's keep with another developing story, corruption. And now the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission says that suspended Lands Cabinet Secretary Charity Ngilu and her agriculture counterpart Ngilu Kosgei are not off the hook yet. Now, EACC says that the closure of the files for the 2 should not be construed as a total case collapse, as the 2 still face their corruption allegations actively under probe, and that the Director of Public Prosecution's decision has the finality on whether to charge or drop these cases, a decision that the DPP has as yet not made.
Nobody has been cleared until the DPP's decision is officially communicated back to us with those files. He doesn't just write a letter, he actually returns a duplicate file for our action. So don't go by speculation, wait for the decision. We will always share with you.
So far you've not been communicated then?
No. No.
But maybe I think you are talking about the recommendations we made in respect of those specific allegations. I think that's what he's talking about.
The cases, yeah.
Our recommendations were in respect of those investigations that there was no case. In respect of those specific allegations, that's the recommendation of the EACC. But the DPP, and that's what the CEO is saying, has to confirm that. So as of now, we cannot say beyond that, because the DPP has to study the files, he has to evaluate the evidence afresh, and then concur or not concur with our recommendations. That's what the CEO is saying.
That's why I can only talk authoritatively when they are either concurring with us or he gives a new dimension to things. And when they're out, we always publish them. I will definitely inform you about those again.
Let's go back to matters of security, but this time down at the coast, where officials led by the County Commissioner Nelson Marwa have been engaged in a meeting since morning to strategize on security matters at the coast. Now, this meeting comes just hours after the police foiled a terrorist attack yesterday night and made some arrests. John Juma is keeping an eye on this story for us, and he begins by telling us what the meeting was about. The County Commissioner was also expected to talk about the amnesty to Al-Shabaab recruits, and he touches on that in this report.
Serikali imepata detonator. Is a cache of weapons capable of causing that amount of this. The government is investigating where these weapons were going. Anybody, regardless of the position, and this is the position we are taking, anybody, regardless of the position, who want to jeopardize security in the county, we're gonna hold him responsible.
Now, let's stay with that story of security, but this time we shift gears to Garissa, where we're receiving reports that some schools have been closed down following reports that some 20 police officers had died after being ambushed by the Somali-based militants Al-Shabaab Of course, the police service later changed that story, saying not a single police officer was killed in the attack and that only 3 of them were critically wounded. Let's have a look at the latest pictures from Garissa.
Of the 3 counties in northeastern region, because there are 3 counties, as you're aware, all schools in the 4 sub-counties have been closed. And that's sad. All Ulugo, Fafi, Ijara, and Dandad sub-county. The secondary schools in the region which have been closed are 12. Primary school are 83. So, Mr. Chairman, we are talking about 95 education institutions which have been closed.
All right, there is Education Cabinet Secretary Jacob Kaimenye just confirming that some schools have indeed been closed down in the county, Garissa County, because of recent insecurity. Dennis Onsarigo, who knows far too well about that region, now joins us in studio to bring us a clear view of what's happening. Let's begin with what has just happened. The National Police Service saying that not a single police officer was killed, but earlier reports saying or seeming to suggest that quite a number of them might have died. Where would this miscommunication occur?
The information we got in the morning from police sources was that more than 20 policemen had died, had been feared dead in this attack. And remember that some 4 policemen had escaped from the scene. They're the ones who relayed this information. So hours later, when we got in touch with the police spokesman, Mr. Kinoti, he confirmed again to the media that they cannot account for 13 policemen.
Right.
Yes, that was much later. And then shortly after, they sent another statement saying there's no single policeman who has been killed, only 5 have been injured. In fact, 3 of them critically, 2 escaped with minor injuries. That is the latest we have. But the devil remains in the details, because senior cops in the National Police Service say that they might have come across bodies in that region. But as we speak now, our report is on the way there. They have stopped at some point. But again, the deputy county commander of Garissa says 1 person has died. So this kind of information coming from the National Police Service and again coming from the county level, the devil, as I said, remains in the detail. Okay,
but I mean, regardless of whether anyone has indeed lost their life in this attack, it was an attack, and it was an attack on a very critical installation, the police. It's not the first time we're seeing this, so what gives?
The signs were there, Edith, from the last 4 days. I think there was a tweet from the IG, Mr. Boynet, saying Al-Shabaab were trying to ambush and harass locals there in search of water and food, but they were repulsed. But what the National Police Service is not saying, how many of these Al-Shabaab fellas were killed or injured in that ambush. And 4 days later, this happens again. So there seems according to police sources here, there seems to be a disconnect between the kind of intelligence that is coming all the way from Nairobi for the National Intelligence Service down to the ground, or the intelligence coming from the ground to the National Police Service to allow them to plan and deploy troops. And that is the problem we're facing in Garissa at the moment.
Okay, but then of course this attack is coming just 24 hours after another car was ambushed in Fafi. Are these 2 related, or do we think that it's just a consistent attack on our police service?
They could be related, and according to social media, some pictures that were posted there by fellas who say they are the deranged animals from across Somalia, Al-Shabaab, they did come to some village somewhere near Fafi again, where they lectured people there and even hoisted a flag at a police station and then left. So were there signs? Yes. Are they the same people? Maybe. But again, with the kind of scanty information coming from the National Police Service and the county level, chances are that we might be lost in this miscommunication coming all the way. And remember, the Presidential Strategic Communication Unit just sent us a tweet a few minutes ago condoling with family members, and minutes later withdrew it. Again, that is the presidency talking, so you don't know. We are stuck somewhere as media. You can't point your finger and say, do we have an attack ongoing there? Was it there? Was it repulsed by security forces or something like that? Yes.
Okay. And I mean, each time any of these attacks happens, be it in a church, a police station, we're constantly looking at the location. Is there anything in Yumbis that would make it such a vulnerable place, and especially leading into Fafi as well?
When you look at Kapedo, when you look at Kapedo and Yumbis now in Garissa, these are far-flung areas. It has taken our report, I think, 1 hour 30 minutes to get to some point to try and get in communication with us. So these are far-flung areas, and sometimes information is hard to come by. And again, even deploying policemen with the kind of vehicles they use on the ground, they will tell you in confidence that we are not well equipped to go to these areas. They can have as many vehicles to transport them, but as long as these vehicles are not fitted with equipment to allow them move freely or in a strategic way and without information, it makes it very difficult. So indeed, it is a security-prone area. It is still ongoing. And something has to give. I don't know what has to give, but something has to give.
Well, Dennis Onsarigo just giving us insight into the very latest incident happening from Garissa, where the National Police Service have since changed the story, saying that not a single police officer has been killed in an attack that occurred in Yumbis, as Dennis Onsarigo referred to it, a very far-flung area in Garissa County. There were reports earlier that about 20 police officers had died in that ambush, but that has since been refuted. And now the report is that 3 police officers were critically wounded and 2 others escaped with minor injuries. We're definitely keeping a close eye on that story, and we'll be giving you the information as and when it gets to us. We're trying to see the pictures from that region just so that we can understand. Earlier on, we did give you a map pinpointing the exact location of Yumbis, but we've received some still photographs from that area, and these are the ones that we have for you and that we're going to be relaying in your screen in just a short while. Here they are. All right, that Yumbis attack, as we wait for those pictures, just to update you that that attack occurred when a police convoy of 5 vehicles destroyed in the ambush came under fire. Of course, it's happening just 24 hours after another car came under ambush in Fafi area. The Al-Shabaab had warned of the attacks in the region last week, which security apparatus dismissed as baseless and alarming. And those still photographs, as we promised you earlier, coming in from Yumbis area in Garissa County. So the pictures you're seeing on your screen giving you a better perspective of just what the region looks like. Not saying much in way of where it is located, but we do know it's in Garissa County. Extremely difficult to reach. As Dennis Onsarigo was saying earlier, it's taken our reporter about 3 hours to even get to a point where we can communicate with him. But those pictures that you're seeing giving a little view, a little perspective as to just what may have happened when that car was ambushed by what we suspect to be Al-Shabaab militants from across the border. Now, as more details reach us, we will relay them to you. But now to other matters. 12 boys have allegedly been sodomized by a teacher in Mudera Primary School, and that's in Muranga County. The teacher allegedly used to threaten the boys out of their dormitories at night and show them pornographic material before committing the beastly act. The victims were taken to Moriranja's sub-district hospital for treatment, and Najma Ismail has more details.
Nikaambiwa ati mtoto wangu walikuwa wanashikwa na mwalimu. Sasa ndio tumekuja huku ndio tujue venye watoto walishikwa.
The anger and agony of a mother. Her son's innocence was allegedly stolen from him by his teacher. It all started in this school, Mudhiria Primary, in Muranga County. For the last 2 days or more, 12 boys have allegedly been sodomized by one of the teachers.
Anakuja anamuita kwa dom kama amelala. Anampeleka nyuma ya class, nyuma ya dom. Mwalimu anasema ati atakuja kuchoma dom. Kwa sababu hataki watoto waseme the truth, ndio maana anasema ati anawathreaten atakuja kuchoma doms.
The boys who could not speak on camera due to stigma revealed that the teacher picked them one by one and then threatened them not to make a sound. He would later show them pornographic material on his phone and then sodomize them.
Anasema alikuwa anashikashikwa private parts na for 2 days ati mwalimu amekuwa akimuita kila siku na yeye mtoto anakataa akimwambia maneno zingine za mapenzi.
Several parents were later called to pick their children from Murinja's hospital after they were taken there by the school following several complaints by the students. The parents condemned the act, saying that the school's management had not informed them until their sons were taken to the hospital for treatment.
The people who are involved were taken to Muranga's district hospital for examination, and we are waiting for that report.
The school's head teacher and the chairman took off when the media arrived at the school, leaving several parents who had come to get their children stranded until later in the evening, where they managed to take them home. Most of them said they will never bring their children back. The teacher accused of the act cannot be traced. Najma Ismail, KTN.
Certainly keep an eye on that story for you and see if any developments at all do emerge. We take you back to the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital in Eldoret, however, and its members, remember, it made headlines after Deputy President William Ruto stopped the expansion of the hospital after questioning the cost of the project. Well, there's a new development now. KO Teachers Circle are currently at a court session in Eldoret over land that is associated with the hospital. So let's speak to Mercy Kandie, who's attending the court session in Eldoret. Mercy, I know that it's still ongoing, but can you at least tell us what the dispute is about?
Yes, it is. The dispute is between the KO Teachers Circle and the Kenya and the Eldoret prison. The land is in Elgeyo, is in Ngilu County, the same land that was the controversial, associated with the controversial $8 billion establishment of a new hospital in Eldoret town. Remember, it is that a lot of land within Eldoret town have had corruption allegations with it. The court in itself that is hearing the case today sits on grabbed land. The AP line is sitting on grabbed land. RP House itself is also on grabbed land, including the county government offices. Yes, this is just one of the very many land corruption deals in Ngilu County. However, the KO Teachers Circle say they have the original certificate, which they bought at 54 million shillings in 2004. But in 2006, when they were starting the process of, demarcating the land, then they were stopped by the prisons and they were told that this land does not belong to them. And NSSF also say they indeed followed due process. They even visited the Cabinet Secretary's office, Charity Ngilu's office in the Ministry of Lands. It is.
Okay, now Mercy, you have told us what the KO Teachers Circle say they have in their possession, but what exactly is it that they're looking to achieve by going to court? What are they hoping to achieve from this?
Yes, it is. We have talked to Barnabas Lagat. They're waiting for the final verdict from the court, but Lagat says that these are teachers who invested all their money in buying this land. About 2,000 teachers have invested. So what they want is justice, that they are claiming that they bought this land, legally followed due process. So what they want at the end of all this is justice, that if they can sit down at a discussion and be told what's the way forward. But yes, it is 2,000 teachers who had invested their money on this 25,000 acre piece of land.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mercy Kandie, coming to us from Eldoret. We'll just allow her to go back to the court session in Eldoret. Elsewhere.
And welcome back to KTN Newsdesk. I'm Michael Karanja. Medical cover refunds, that's what we're going to be talking about today. And the company that introduced this was AAR Insurance. And just to help us decipher what actually led to that decision, I'm now joined by the Managing Director of AAR Insurance, Caroline Munene. Caroline, you talked about 50% refund when it came to medical covers that people could start enjoying through AAR. Just to start us off, what led to that kind of thinking when, as a health insurer, to give people refunds?
Thank you, Michael, first for having me here in the studio. Yeah. And I'm very happy to answer these questions about what we are doing at AAR Insurance. We've started now a real change in the insurance industry. Yeah. And AAR Insurance is responding to customer queries in terms of premiums that people have been paying. And people have had a lot of questions that they have been paying continuously. Sometimes they don't get anything back from their premiums. So at AAR Insurance, we have now come up with a product where it gives back some of the premiums. as much as 50% to customers that partner with us and therefore do not utilize as much insurance premiums as they should.
This is uncharted territory for medical insurance. Perhaps you more or less leading the way in that front. So perhaps what do you envision will happen with this kind of programs or products introduced into the market?
What we envision to happen and we are hoping for is that there will be a change in behavior of customers.
Yeah.
And change of behavior for medical insurance will lead to change or reduction of cost of the medical insurance product. And if we have enough change of behavior among our consumers, among Kenyan people, with respect to insurance, then it will be possible to lower the costs of medical insurance. And people will be able to enjoy, more people will be able to enjoy the cover. And what we are saying as AR insurance as well is that there is more than the financial benefit in terms of wellness, in terms of not using your premiums. So we are asking people to reflect on the many benefits that can come to you, including cashback from your insurance products, if you embrace wellness, and therefore we change the patterns of the cost of insurance.
So is this telling people to stop eating a lot of red meat, more greens, and avoid alcohol?
Yes, I think it's just encouraging people to make better choices in terms of lifestyle, and people to really understand that it's not just about your eating habits, it's also about your exercise, it's also about other aspects of wellness, it's about intellectual wellness as well, it's about emotional wellness. So we are really just encouraging prospective customers, current customers, embrace wellness from a 360 degrees perspective, and people should reflect on what really are the benefits of wellness other than just a cashback from insurance premiums. Obviously,
cashback is quite attractive, but just looking at what the insurance regulator was saying about 2014, insurance medical claims were up about 45%. I think in 2014, AR paid out almost close to 2 billion shillings when it came to medical insurance. Perhaps is it a way, perhaps, where there is mutual benefits for both the insured and the insurer?
That's correct, Michael. If everybody comes to the table in terms of consumers, in terms of products, providers of insurance, healthcare, in terms of insurance companies, if we come to the table and change the patterns of cost of insurance premiums, then the possibility of actually having a product that is accessible to more people will actually come to be. If you look at the numbers in terms of industry statistics, you'll find that most of the premiums that are paid for insurance, especially health insurance, normally go back in terms of costs. They go back to the hospitals, they go back to doctors and pharmacists, and we are not saying that necessarily is a bad thing. All we are saying is that if some of these costs came down as a result of change of behavior, then it's possible that medical insurance will be accessible to more people than currently is the case.
Just look at the way medical insurance is structured. Do you foresee perhaps everyone coming to the table on this?
We hope so, but in reality, we must accept that not everybody will come to the table. But we hope to demonstrate that if a good number of people come to the table, we hope to demonstrate that this can actually change the way medical insurance in Kenya today is consumed. So we hope enough people will come to the table. And again, there is every reason. There's a compelling case actually to embrace wellness. There's a compelling case to go back for cashback, not just from a financial perspective. And if we change the thinking, that's what we have set out to do as AR Insurance, then we believe we can change the way insurance is bought in Kenya today and the way it is consumed.
All right.
Exactly.
Let's end it right there. Caroline Munene from AR Insurance is telling us more about what the kind of initiatives that are being introduced in the medical market, and wellness could actually save you a pretty penny. Edith Kimani, the axe is actually rolling at Real Madrid. What happened there?
Well, what had happened was Real Madrid's La Decima winning coach Carlo Ancelotti was sacked. That's right. The Italian coach was fired following a poor show this season in which the club finished second to their arch-rivals Barcelona in the Spanish league, as well as being knocked out by Juventus in the UEFA Champions League semi-final stage. That's where we wrap up this edition of KTN Newsdesk, but not before we give you your Did You Know fact. Did you know that you can't actually sink in quicksand? Well, it's easy to get stuck, but it's not impossible. But it's impossible rather to sink, because it acts as a fluid twice as heavy as water, and you're not dense enough to go under it. So what happens is it liquefies when you disturb it. So as long as you don't panic, basically stand there, you're not going to sink, or you'll only sink to about half of your body length, which for me is really not much. My chances of dying in quicksand are probably a lot higher than the tallest person in this world. My name is Edith Kimani. Good afternoon.